Would you be willing to die for the game of football? I was asked this question at a camp this past summer, and about 80% of the people at the camp raised their hand, including myself. This was the wrong answer though, because there's more to life than sports. I understood the coach's point, but at the time they did not set in completely. It was not until I got injured halfway through the season that I understood the complete reasoning behind the coach's lesson. Through the recovery process, I worked as hard as possible to get better and return to play. This included working on my mentality towards football and sports in general. I began to understand the teachings of my past coaches who would emphasize the enjoyment of both preparing and playing sports. The coach who asked the million-dollar question was not advising us against having passion for the game, but he was teaching us to not be blinded by passion. This realization increased my appreciation for sports, especially football, because I understood that life goes much further than sports. After returning from my injury, I had two goals every time I stepped onto the field: to perform to the best of my ability in order to help my team find success, and to appreciate the opportunity to play high school football on a Friday night with two of my best friends. Growing up, there was little time when I wasn't outside playing sports with my brother, whether it was throwing a football, playing hockey, or racing around on our bikes. This early introduction to sports and competition began a passion and something that will forever be associated with my life. My freshman year of high school, I played my first year of football. I thought to myself, I've thrown a football before, I can play quarterback. I was immediately given a reality check on how physically and mentally demanding the sport of football is. However, I grew a love for the complexity and difficulty. One of the main challenges was getting on the field and having the opportunity to play, as I was the backup quarterback both my freshman and junior year. I never looked down on myself for being a backup though, as it only inspired me to work and learn more in order to gain the skill required to play. Instead of losing passion for the game, I embraced being the backup and the ability to learn from teammates who, at the time, were more skilled and had more experience than I did. Personally, I feel it was just as important to my development as a player and a person to be in the backup role as it set a bar that I needed to reach and go past in order to set myself up for success. The time spent as a backup led me to accomplish feats as a starter that might not have been possible had I not been a backup. Once I had earned the starting role, I did not look back. I was able to find success for both the team and myself. The success was not just in the amount of wins, yards, or touchdowns. It was in learning life lessons and becoming a respectable young adult. I would like to thank my dedicated parents for always supporting me by driving my brother and I to every sports practice we had growing up, and for providing the proper tools to succeed after school, as everything they ever taught me or had me do was with a purpose in order for me to be in the best position to find success. I would also like to thank my brilliant coaches that I've had along the way, especially John Wade, Steve Scythe, Steve Peters, and Scott Baswell. I would not be the man I am today without these gentlemen, as well as all my other coaches, as each of them have taught me life lessons that I will continue to use my entire life. It is also necessary that I thank my brother. He has been my biggest influence and role model growing up. The memories we've had together go deep, as there was not a day when we were little where we didn't create lifelong memories. He has also inspired me to be a better person and has always guided me in the right direction and how to work through certain situations. It is for this reason one of my best experience playing sports was being able to play on the same hockey team as my brother in his senior year. I was only a freshman and my brother was the team captain. We would always talk about the games in the car and think through each shift we had. I'll never forget when we made a bet before the game that if I scored that game, he would buy dinner on the way home. Sure enough, I scored, and the first thing I said to him after scoring was, "You're paying for dinner, bud." It was a dream come true to play alongside him, as all through our childhood we would imagine playing on the ice together at a competitive level. It was also the last couple of months I got to see him before he moved to Canada. This made the season even more special because I knew I would no longer have someone so close to me in the same country to assist me with anything I needed. I'd also like to thank all of the Livermore-Granada Boosters board members and everyone else who has helped put this together, giving myself and the other finalists this opportunity. So if anyone asked me today if I was willing to die for football or even any sport, I'll tell them no. And it is because of the great memories I've already created as well as the lessons I've learned through sports. Thank you.